What's up, everybody? This is Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com coming to you in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. Arkansas just wrapped up day 2 of spring drills on Friday, and it's going to be Tuesday till the next one. So I figured we'd do a little bit of a walk and talk about some of the things that we've seen so far. Obviously, Bobby Petrino being out there is wild. I mean, just to actually see him out there coaching, red ball cap, kind of his neck jutted out, looking like he's about to tear into somebody's ass. He hasn't really done that yet, but you know, the tempo and everything, utilizing the whole field, all that stuff, great to see from Bobby Petrino out there. Sam Pittman and Eric Mateos in tandem again. Pittman says he's kind of like Mateos' GA in a way with the offensive line, in addition to all the head coaching responsibilities and stuff. So interesting to see all that stuff. Now, they have been just in spiders, no shoulder pads yet. That's obviously a progression to get on to full pads. Been inside the Walker Pavilion because the weather has been bad so far. Been a little wet outside. But you know, what jumps out to me is still, it looks like a big team out there. Taylon Green, let's start with the quarterback situation. They were able to do obviously a lot more stuff in the offseason than they've done. And, you know, he just kind of elevated to #1. I do think he's the starting quarterback for this team. Throws a really nice, clean ball. Maybe sometimes a little bit low, maybe a little sidearm delivery here and there. Incredible legs. He's not as big as Matt Jones was physically, like calves, hips, and all that stuff, bone structure. But, you know, 6'6", long strider. You can still see people taking really bad angles on him. By the way, I hope it's not too windy because I forgot my lav mic. But anyway, I really like the looks of him. I've liked what I've seen out of Malachi Singleton. Jacoby Criswell's had a few good throws too, but I just think that Taylon Green just jumps out to me as this guy is going to be the starting quarterback. Seems to be extremely popular with the team also. So running back, first thing I thought of when I saw Jaquindon Jackson was like, this guy looks tough as nails. Braylon Russell, I don't know if I've ever seen a guy with thighs the size of Braylon Russell. He looks, I mean, he's all of 252. He's going to help them, I think. I think he'll help them this year. Isaiah Augusta has looked good also. You know, Dominic Johnson still wearing the knee brace. Rashad DeBinion's down like 16 pounds from where he was last year, down to 199. You know, we've seen a lot of like 2 tight sets also with them on offense. Andreas Posk, I believe is how you, Pusk, something like that. It's not Paskey as it looks like it's spelled, but you know, he looks like if you drew up like what is a tight end supposed to look like back in 1975? It's like this guy. And, you know, it's kind of the guy that they were missing last year at tight end. I think he's going to be a better blocking tight end than what they had last year with their blocking tight ends. I think he's going to be a better receiver than what they had with their blocking tight ends last year. I don't know that he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to go and catch, you know, long balls and stuff. He had one yesterday over his shoulder, dropped in perfectly from Criswell that he dropped. You know, another one maybe like 20-something yards downfield that he dropped. But a shorter pass where a D-back was kind of draped all over him and he really showed a lot of strength with his hands. But you're going to see a lot of 12 personnel, I think, with him on the field next to Luke Hasz. You know, wide receivers, obviously not a whole lot of new players there, not a lot of new faces. C.J. Brown, obviously the freshman, but not a whole lot of new faces there. And offensive line, the thing that jumps out to me with the offensive line, I think, more than anything, is just like they're bigger at tackle, like not as like long and slender as they were last year. You know, Fernando Carmona and Takias Crawford and Keyshawn Blackstock, just broader shoulders, bigger leg guys. I really like what I see out of Carmona yesterday. I just remember him running from one drill to the next and just kind of high kneeing his way. Just looked, I don't know, just looks like an athlete, you know, and that's always something that you want to see with offensive linemen. Flipping it over to defense, Anton Junkaj looks like he's got some jump to him. You know, I think with the defensive line overall, they're going to need to add another defensive end, need to add another defensive tackle. I think that probably makes a lot of sense for him because you go 2 deep pretty good. It's a pretty good looking group 2 deep. What's up, Connor?
What's up?
Connor Goodson, falling for Razorback basketball coverage. Does a great job. Gonna need him for the transfer portal. Jackson McAfee over there doing the work. HawgSports.com, by the way, 50% off right now at HawgSports.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Go check us out. So limited time just during spring football, and you know, it's supposed to be kind of like March Madness thing through the network, but obviously it's not really in the cards, is it? So this is, by the way, this is kind of the what is this, a touchdown club? What is this called? Well, anyway, this is the tunnel where the players come out. For those of you who hadn't seen this before, they go out right out there to the field. Get a little inside look so you can see. So there'll be fans and stuff all throughout here. This is down, obviously, right above the, or right below the north end zone. This is the rock that they touch right here, one Arkansas. Got some graphics through here. I guess I probably haven't taken you guys through this area before. So overall, defensive line, need to add another defensive tackle, need to add another defensive end. Just for depth. Not that like Charlie Collins, Kavion Henderson, those guys couldn't help them and couldn't play a lot. It's just like in the transfer portal age, you have the opportunity to have depth with experienced players, you know, and so why not do that? Right now I've got them at 80 scholarship players, so, you know, probably need a couple of more offensive linemen, center, maybe a tackle type on the offensive line, and then defensive end, defensive tackle, another veteran linebacker without question. They really, like it doesn't have to be like a guy that's like just a stud, because I really like what I see out of Brad Spence so far, just his explosiveness. He's one of the best looking guys on the team, just physically, really muscled up. And, you know, Xavier Sori is a guy that got a lot of athletic ability. You know, I think I said maybe he's not quite 6'1". I think he might be probably 6'2", 6'3". I think he's listed at 6'3". And I said I think he's maybe like 6'1", but I got up close to him today, so he's definitely a little taller, but rangy, athletic, good looking linebacker. Whereas Spence is a little more hulkish and explosive. Carson Dean's doing a lot of stuff, moving around to a lot of different positions. So the lobby here at the Burrell Center. Moving around to a lot of different positions, and you know, sometimes he's a Mike, sometimes he's a Sam down close to the line of scrimmage when they run a 3 linebacker look. Doing a lot of things, shaking up the secondary. Danico Slaughter, the transfer defensive back from Tennessee, working some at safety today. He was more at nickel. Like what I've seen out of the Metcalf brothers, Tevis and TJ both have played well. Tevis had a pick today, and RJ Johnson had a pick today. There's some younger defensive backs that, you know, we didn't talk about a whole lot last year just because they had so many older guys that are really going to be counted on for important roles. I have not watched any of the kickers. I've not seen Matthew Shipley. I mean, we've been inside for each of the first 2 practices, so haven't seen them. But what else? What else we want to talk about? North end zone. So again, practice schedule, it's been nice. It's been in the morning because it allows me personally to be able to do all my work throughout the day and then focus on the next day versus, you know, working at night and then working on the previous day and all that kind of stuff. So really like the schedule in the mornings. And hey, scrimmage is open to the fans. They've opened the first 2 practices in their entirety to the media, which has been great for our coverage. Again, if you want to read more of that, HawgSports.com. And yeah, part of 24/7 Sports Network, 50% off. 50% off for a limited time at HawgSports. What else did we not really cover? Good to see Luke Haz out there. He's going to be a weapon for him. I think you're going to see a lot of 12 personnel just because, you know, Haz can basically be a wide receiver in a lot of ways. Andrew Armstrong looking good. He's made some really nice catches. I really just think, like, my synopsis of Taylon Green is long strider, guy that people are going to take really bad angles on, and I think it's going to cause some problems for some teams. Like, you know, KJ was a stout runner and stuff, but like Taylon can hit the corner and just really turn it upfield. I think it's going to help the, you know, the running backs, and yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out. The problem with Arkansas, like, to me, is I think that they've done some really good things to improve the roster. I think there's some things that they have to take care of, like, you know, bringing in a couple more offensive linemen, another linebacker, a couple more defensive linemen. I think they're probably okay after that in terms of the numbers. You know, if there's a can't miss guy out there, and we'll see if anybody else jumps in the portal, you know, but again, I've got them at 80, the limit's 85. So I think aside from a few spots like that, they're in pretty good shape from a numbers standpoint, in terms of also like having, you know, players who've been around the block a little bit, players who are a little bit older, not just going to have to rely on true freshmen and things like that. So the problem with college football these days is everybody else is improving their roster. You know, Ole Miss had a great year in the transfer portal. I'm sure Auburn's going to be better. a lot of teams, LSU, except for not having a Heisman quarterback, but a lot of teams are going to be better all the way around their roster, because you can easily say, like, hey, you need to have at least 15 offensive linemen, and you can go get 15 offensive linemen in the portal. It's not like you have to go back to recruiting where you're like, well, we just, you know, this offensive line group didn't hit and we're just a little low on numbers there. There's not much we can do except for bring in some more freshmen. Now you can just bring in transfers and fill the role. So that's where things are different with college football now. So when I look at Arkansas out there and looked at them last year too, I'm like, man, big team, guys got a lot of experience. All of these are really good things, but what you're measuring it against is past Razorback teams. You're not measuring against their peers in the SEC, which are all also better. The teams that they're putting together now are better because they're more mature. There's not massive holes because you're able to address those things in the transfer portal. They're better now than they were just a few years ago. So it's easy to look out there and say, man, it's a good looking group. You know, this group's good. These, you know, they got some size here, got some experience here. But what are you measuring against? It's basically measuring against past Arkansas teams. And, you know, that's the challenge. It's harder now than to kind of predict how good these teams are going to be because of the transfer portal. So anyway, just thought I'd give you guys a little walk and talk post-practice. Hope the audio wasn't messed up again. My lav mic wasn't in the case. I'm in spring mode, I guess. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. Sign up at HawgSports, 50% off. We'll catch you next time.